We'll be back from the break. It's 26 minutes to the top of the hour. Definitely heading into the last minutes of the show as we're wrapping up this. I'm Andrew Barija with Joram Paul Sonko. Every morning, Monday up to Friday, we're here to drive your business on your daily Kickstarter. That is smart means of business. But of course, above all these discussions are powered by Zabu, which is a platform from Oltex, which just made your stock trading experience much more easier, where you can actually also buy government bonds and securities for just as little as 15,000 Ugandan shillings. But you can still choose to invest more than that. But Zabu simply says, well, just come with 15,000 and life will be made much more better. Now the markets open at 8:15 a.m. Monday up to Friday, and of course they close at 3:15. Of course, effective still between that very period. Apart from the weekends and the public holidays when you can access these markets, but well, you have the rest of the 5 days to capitalize and make quite some huge profits for you, which could be very key when it comes to covering up probably your trade deficits throughout the week. Yes, this is a potential side income. Zabu simply says, my money, my future, and Oltex East Africa says, do something new. Well, today is a Wednesday, and every Wednesday and Mondays, of course, we have our tech updates, getting to see what's really happening in the world of technology, something that is quite very mesmerizing. And today we have something probably you've heard about some years ago, but now it's really into play as we speak right now. The country of China, of course, breaking history, altering nature, by forming up an artificial sun, and actually it's hotter than the sun, which we have in the atmosphere, the natural sun. So that is quite very amazing. See how technology has gone as far as trying to see that even weather is now manipulated as we speak right now. Now, scientists in China have been working on a device called an artificial sun. That can control nuclear fusion. Now, recently, they achieved a new milestone by making the device produce plasma current of over 1 million amperes. That's crazy. Now, this is a very important step forward for China's nuclear fusion energy development. Now, the artificial sun is a device designed to replicate the conditions found in the core of the sun, and it uses powerful magnets to control the plasma, which is a super hot gas that can reach temperatures of millions of degrees Celsius. Now, the plasma is contained within a device called a tokamak, which is a donut-shaped chamber. Now, by controlling the plasma, scientists hope to harness the energy produced by the nuclear fusion. Now, of course, we are getting to observe the technology into this artificial sunshine. Now, the latest breakthrough means that the artificial sun can be routinely operated and a plasma current of more than 1 million amperes in the future, and this will allow scientists to carry out cutting-edge scientific research, which is of great significance for China's participation in the International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor experiment and independent design and operation of a fusion reactor. Now, China is one of the several countries participating in the ITER project, which is one of the largest, most far-reaching international scientific projects in the world. Now, by contributing to the ITER project, China is learning from other countries' experiences in the design, construction, and operation of the internationally controlled fusion experimental device at the same time. Now, this will help them to strengthen their own nuclear fusion energy development. And of course, as we wind this up, the recent breakthrough in nuclear fusion research in China is an important step forward for the development of the fusion energy. And this device, which can control nuclear fusion, is an important tool for scientific research in this particular field. Now, by participating in the international nuclear fusion projects, China, like I said, is learning from other countries' experiences to strengthen development of nuclear fusion energy, and something quite very essential when it comes to creating a business, as now they are being monopolies when it comes to manipulating natural related aspects here. But anyway, we don't know how far this will go. We shall be giving you the updates regarding what's happening with China and the artificial sun. What are the new developments coming up? Maybe. Definitely, of course, there are also plans to make an artificial moon to be there. So that's where the world is at when it comes to technology, technological advancements. Well, that is it for the tech update this morning. 22 minutes to the top of the hour. Now, as we wrap this up, Of course, recently the cabinet sat down and it came up with resolutions on sectoral reforms. And of course, here we see that the government hopes to achieve what the government is expectant to achieve quite lots from these reforms, which are potential engine for the overall socio-economic development. Of course, Dr. Chris Baromosi talked about that. But of course, before we go into that discussion, Joram, I think sectoral reforms, what really got my attention was the National Drug Authority, which was lifted up of duties. Recently it's been doing quite lots of aspects, but now there has been a reduction. Of course, we shall get into the details as time goes on, getting to see how these reforms are going to work out, when it comes to implementation. Because, we've been having issues whereby it's an agency and it's dealing with quite lots of aspects. I remember some time back, I think it was in 2021, when we had the Uganda, I think it was the public service in relation to issuing out permits, a burden which was released, I think I'm trying to recall, but there was, that release to enable a certain agency to perform efficiently by reducing on the tasks that should be given. Of course, there are many sectors, sectoral reforms in quite so many sectors, agriculture, health, so many. But what got really my attention was the NDA, the National Drug Authority, being lifted it up. I think that is key when it comes to streamlining, because I believe at some point we have conflict in terms of boundaries of execution. That sometimes there is obstruction of potential justice to execute something, that I want to execute something, but because I'm not sure of what my role is and what another party is, sometimes there is that conflict. If it's not conflict, there is being overwhelmed with excessive duties, and which explains why there is lack of efficiency when it comes to operation. So we hope, probably maybe these are one of the factors that lead to underperformance of our ministries and the departments they are in.
Well, I think the use of more resources under ministries that are doing under different sectors that are doing the same thing as a ministry. For example, you may find one ministry having various organizations following it, and all these want a separate budget from the main ministry.
True.
And I think this is one of the reasons as to why the cabinet is setting up these sectorial reforms. And obviously, besides the fact that the government intends to at least have socioeconomic development being obtained
exactly,
with the entire drive to achieve this, you want to also realize that they want to cut on the expenses as much as possible, because the reforms come in with the fact that you have to change leadership under those particular sectors. Then also try to either way deploy or allocate different funds to other ministries or other sectors. But entirely the idea is to create a room for the next financial year budget cuts, and to ensure that the money can easily fit into what
is coming in. With the budget cuts and all that, it really relates all together. But anyway, let's see what really outcomes, because the most important aspect is whatever government program that happens, it's very important to go deeper into the matter and take a look at what impact, once this decision was taken, what did it have an impact from, because it's just not about making decisions over matters. They should be thought through efficiently, because they either have negative repercussions or positive. In the long run, regardless, there will always be repercussions. And that's why you get to realize, and when you project, you get to see, okay, this is as a result of the decision we made some time back in the cabinet meeting we had. So what is the way forward? In other words, I anticipate that even when you make a decision, when they make decisions, what could be the challenges that can be encountered, experienced as this decision? Because probably there is something you've not seen, so is government catering for all those unforeseen circumstances, proper assessment of decisions. And when you anticipate that there could be as something which might counteract this, you find a solution with it as a standby for better and efficient management. Well, just 16 minutes to the top of the hour. Now let's get into this discussion with Dr. Chris Bariomusi when he was addressing the media. That was yesterday at the Media Center at the Uganda Media Center regarding the sectoral reforms.
The first issue which we considered was a paper presented by the Ministry of Health where they would want to have the National Drug Policy and Authority Act amended, because there is a law which establishes National Drug Authority, and the Ministry of Health together with the Ministry of Agriculture have been working on amendments on this law, particularly with a view of looking at how to regulate the pharmaceuticals to do with veterinary service as well as food related items. And we have had discussions of this bill for quite some time. It has taken like 3-4 cabinet sittings, but yesterday we took the final decision that the amendment of the law should proceed. But what is of particular concern among the many amendments is that we took a decision to separate the human drugs from the veterinary drugs, because currently under the NDA law, NDO works on both human medicines as well as veterinary medicines. And there has been a concern that maybe NDA focuses more on the human medicines and pharmaceuticals, and maybe less attention is given to the veterinary products and drugs. So we took a decision that one, we shall keep the National Drug Authority, but then it's going to regulate and focus on human medicines, vaccines, medical devices, in vitro diagnostics, public health products, and nutritional supplements. So the National Drug Authority will just be focusing on medicines and pharmaceutical products and supplies to do with human health. And then we shall form a new authority, which we are going to call the Food, Animal and Plant Health Authority. And this will be established under the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Husbandry and Fisheries. And now its mandate will be to regulate food, veterinary medicines, including veterinary vaccines, veterinary devices, agrochemicals, and all other therapeutic products for plant and animal health. So the major decision which we took was that we are going now to split the mandate so that the National Drug Authority focuses on human health, and then we create another authority that will focus on veterinary and plant health. The third agency, UNBS, the Uganda National Bureau of Standards, it will continue to regulate the remaining products except those which are regulated by the National Drug Authority or the new proposed authority under Ministry of Agriculture or any other specialized agency that is established by law. So all the other items will now be regulated by Uganda National Bureau of Standards. But again, UNBS remains the custodian of standards in accordance with the law. So the major decisions in brief the major decision on this which we took was that National Drug Authority will now concentrate on human health, and then a new authority will be created and will be looking at veterinary and plant health. And then the remaining items will be regulated by Uganda National Bureau of Standards. So that's one of the major decisions that were taken yesterday, and the process to amend this law has taken many years. So this was a very important decision.
Well, that's Dr. Chris Beromusi, the Minister of ICT and National Guidance, on Cabinet resolution on sectoral reforms. Maybe, Joram, just in a few minutes. I know when you mentioned the aspect of UNBS, of course, being the regulatory body for quality, which cuts across. At some point, I'm just worried, just like we've been discussing about, hope it won't bring some sort of a conflict between the UNBS and the National Drug Authority concerning certain matters of testing the standard of the product. Of the drugs.
No, the issue is because the standards, what you look at, the National Drug Authority, it's you can easily feel it from the kind of terminologies used to identify these organizations or government bodies. NDA or the National Drug Authority is supervising and checking out on the standards on the drugs and ensuring that the drugs that come into the country or that are manufactured within the country are of high quality. And on top of it as well, Uganda National Bureau of Standards is also looking at the quality check mark, because as any other country, you have to have a standard body that checks. So that means NDA, in terms of standards, has to be under the UNBS. So the UNBS will only have to come through and supervise to ensure that the standards of the drugs that are being sold on the market are the ones that are supposed to be sold, not the ones that will ideally cause damage to one's health or inflict on people's health, by the way. Because if you are, for example, a patient, you would wish to have medicine that is going to solve an issue, and you wouldn't wish to get medicine or drugs that are expired or that are not effective enough as prescribed by the doctors.
Yeah, I also looked at the aspect of creating a new ministry. I mean, a new authority that is under the Ministry of Agriculture, in responsive for veterinary services, medicines, and all that. I mean, there is also now that is an additional. So that means there is going to need people into that entire sector. So that is increased government expenditure, and before you know it, public servants saying, our salaries are not coming out. See, all that comes about, and with ministries experiencing budget cuts, and yet there is increase in manpower, because they are going to need people to work there. Since now National Drug Authority is now saying no. Maybe if they can see a way they can divide the workers from NDA, and when initially they are working as one, and they just split a division of groups. I think that could be one of the ways to reduce on expenses, because we are trying to reduce government expenditure as much as possible so that we can have some surplus money for our economy. Well, it's 8 minutes to the top of the hour, and we've come to the end of the show. Smart Means Business this morning on the 10th of May 2023. Well, I've been Andrew Barija with Joram Paul Sonko, starting off with this very cold morning. I think by now the rains have stabilized a little bit, and now I know you could be on transit, or you're already in your office seated, executing your daily duties. Well, channel 370 on DSTV and channel 320 on GoTV, where you'll be able to catch us at any part of the region you'll be at. And free to air, we're available. Yes, there is no excuse this time around as to why you shouldn't watch Smart24 TV. We are now free to air, live. We represent to you these facts live in your sitting room as you're taking your cup of tea, your cup of coffee there. And don't forget to follow us on our social media handles at Smart24 TV, that's on Twitter. Smart24 TV Official, that's on Facebook, and Smart24 TV Live. Yes, you'll be able to get us at any part of the world you'll be at. And on our website, smart24.tv, yes, you can get us there for further insights of any business related topics. Thank you from all the way we started in the morning, despite the heavy rains, but well, business has to keep on moving. And at this very time, the entire SMB team, Andrew Barije with Joram Paul Sonko, will definitely love to wish you a very fruitful day. Go be productive, yes. And of course, as I speak right now, I know it's already, it's the time for breakfast. Go have a cup of tea, as we are also going to do the same as we are done here. Good morning, till tomorrow.
Up next on Smart24 TV.